much about the banks. Maybe some of the big banks, but not so much about everyone else. But this earnings season and into 2022, banks are it. It's the big area, the one area where the Fed raising their rates will actually help these companies and earnings will go up. So, what are the regional banks you should be following during this earnings season? I picked out 5 of my favorite regional banks. Now, there's many of the big regional banks you could pick from. So that's why I narrowed it down to my 5 favorites. And they're all reporting next week. So you might want to tune in to some of these big regional banks to see what's going on in their business and what's happening with their valuations and these stocks. Because again, I think this is one of the hottest sectors here for 2022. We'll know it's getting hot if I end up doing earnings all-star videos on community banks, which I've never done, and I'm not doing it this quarter, but we shall see going forward. So let's dive in and see what are the 5 big regional banks that you should be watching next week. So the first one is one of the perennial Wall Street favorites, PNC Financial Services Group, ticker PNC. As you can see, they have a good earnings surprise track record with just 2 misses over the last 5 years. I've highlighted it many times on the Earnings All-Stars videos because it is so popular and well-liked. It's headquartered in Pittsburgh. It does all the normal banking types of things, and it's big in asset management. And as you can see, the street really likes it. Shares are up over 40% in the last year. That's not too shabby, beating the S&P 500, which had an outstanding year, up 28%, and now busting out to new 5-year highs. Now, that's also because everyone knows the Fed is going to be raising rates, so they are diving into the bank stocks. It's on a little bit of the more expensive side right here on a PE basis at 15.6 times, pays a dividend 2.3%, but PNC, everybody loves it, one of the best run banks. So this is definitely one everyone's going to be watching next week. Then we're going to switch over to Comerica, ticker CMA. This is also one of my favorites. It has a little bit more misses, just 3 misses in the last 5 years, but has put together a good pandemic run here with 6 beats in a row. Now, they're much smaller than PNC with a market cap of almost 94 billion. Comerica, just 12.7 billion, but they're headquartered in Dallas, Texas, and Texas economy coming out of the pandemic is going to be red hot. Everybody's moving there. It's got a ton of business growth. It's got energy now that's also on the upswing. So I want to be in banks that are lending in areas with, great economic growth. Comerica also in Arizona, Michigan, California, Florida, all also big economic growth states. So I like the Comerica story. It's also on the more pricey side here after this nice rally, not quite breaking out like PNC, but not much until it does. And these shares up 58% in the last year, now trading at 16.6 times with a dividend yielding 2.8%. So again, a little bit pricier, but the E side, that earnings should be on the upswing here as we go forward in 2022 and into 2023 as those rates rise. So I really like Comerica because of where it's located. When you're looking for a regional or community bank to invest in, keep in mind, what is its business? Where are its customers going to be located? And you want to get that really strong economic growth. Comerica is one of those. And then switching over to KeyCorp. This is also a Wall Street favorite. And just like PNC, it too is busting out to new 5-year highs. It's got a great earnings surprise track record, just that one miss there in 2019. So very dependable, meeting or beating, and now busting out. So market cap with KeyCorp, which is headquartered in Cleveland, is 24 billion. They're a little bit bigger on the financial services side, but also do regular banking. And so financial services has been a hot area on the recovery. So that's why you see these shares busting out. They're up 44% in the last year, so that's a nice gain as well. All these regional banks beating the S&P 500 so far. And the PE still cheap on this one at 12.9. Dividend is yielding 3%, so that's pretty juicy still. You'll also find with some of these regional banks, the dividends are a little bit more attractive than with the bigger banks. So keep that in mind too. But KeyCorp, a Wall Street favorite, and now busting out. I'm going to be watching this one for sure. Then we're going to switch over to Bank OZK. You might not have ever heard this one, OZK, unless you are in my value investor portfolio because we own it there. I also own it in my own personal portfolio. It was a favorite of mine in the early 2000s because they specialize in real estate. They used to be called the Bank of the Ozarks. They are headquartered in Little Rock, Arkansas. So you might think, oh, what's so exciting about that? But they're in numerous states and they lend on the real estate side. They're basically real estate experts. Now, a lot of people had some fear when we had the Great Recession and the blow up in real estate because they lent to a lot of condo buildings, but their underwriting is fantastic. Their CEO has been CEO since 1979, and they're very conservative in who they lend to. So their loan losses have been very low. And that's what I like to see in a bank. So they beat 6 quarters in a row. They put together this nice streak after a big miss there to start the pandemic, but they're on the right track now, getting closer to about a 4-year high, but not near breaking out to those bigger highs from early 2018, as you can see on the chart. So we got a little ways to go. Over the last year, these shares were up 49.8%. So also seeing the big rally as we've seen with all these banks. And PE's not too bad. PE of just 13 times, and dividend is now yielding 2.3%. So a little bit lower than some of the others on the dividend yield. This is actually a smaller cap regional bank, not one of these big mega caps, but it's on the mid cap side at 6.5 billion in market cap. So it's not as well known as some of the others, except for its real estate specialization. And so that's why I like it. Again, this is Bank OZK. I will be watching it because I own it. And I'm interested to see what they're saying about the real estate outlook. And then we're going to wrap it up with US Bancorp. A lot of people know this bank, headquartered in Minneapolis. They're big in various regular banking areas, including mortgages. The 91 billion in market cap, that's much bigger than Bank OZK and up there with PNC or some of the big banks. But they've got an outstanding track record. They haven't missed in 5 years, as you can see. So that's very impressive during a pandemic. And so they're very consistent on what they're doing on earnings. It looks like the shares are going to try to break out again. They had like too many breakouts, as you can see right here and right here in 2021. And it looks like they want to get there again over the last year. This bank is only up 24%, so not quite as bullish as the others, and a little bit under the S&P 500 over that time period. But still, I'm liking what I see, and the valuation is good. PE at 13.9, and you do get that dividend of 3% here with US Bancorp. So I'm sure you can tell I'm excited about these regional banks. Yes, I can't believe it. I'm excited about the banks, but you should be too. And there's a lot more of them coming next week in addition to these 5. These are just 5 that I just pulled out because I like them and the street follows them. But there's other big names that are also reporting next week, several dozen. So pick your poison, go pick out your favorite bank, start watching them, because this earnings season should be the kickoff to what should be a great year for all of these banks. And it is the one area to watch. Now be sure to get all of my earnings videos every week, because I'll be bringing you more than just the banks. We're going to get into those hot energy stocks. And as well as FANGman, we're getting the first look at one of the FANGs coming up quickly. So be sure to subscribe at zacks.com/YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get all of our videos over there, including our top stock picks of the week. You don't want to miss those. And I'll see you again next week with some more earnings charts.